Good evening and welcome back to the workshop. So here we are. It's a lovely autumn day here in Dublin. I'm in the workshop in North County Dublin, and I'm going to be try to do a little bit of tidying up here. We had a market last weekend, the Christmas alternative Dublin market, or not the Christmas, obviously, the Halloween alternative market in Dublin. 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I had stalls on both days, and yeah, I did pretty well. Saturday in particular, there was a lot more people through the door, and a lot more people bought stuff, and I sold a lot of stuff. Now, I'm obviously still at the beginning stages, so all of these things are a learning curve, a learning process, and I noticed, or confirmed, you might say, reconfirmed, that certain things sell better than others. With regards to what did sell, all of my Sheila gigs. For those who don't know what they are, I'll just grab one now. I should have had these ready, but that's me. Okay, so this is our Sheila gig. Now, they were available in different finishes. I'd originally poured them in Herculite, but in the last couple of months, I have been experimenting with cold casting metals. So I brought 6 of these in ceramic and cold cast. On the first day, and they all sold. On the second day, I think I sold 4. So that's not bad. These move very quickly. Now, next, what I would say would have been my Green Lady. This has always been a great seller. See if I can get that up there. No, these are also available in different finishes. So originally, I had been making these in cast Herculite, and these are comparatively heavy. They take a little bit of time to make. Each one needs to be poured, taken from the mold, needs to be painted again, needs to be varnished. So there's a bit of process involved. So I sold lots of these, but then I started to experiment with the cold cast metal version of the lady. I don't know if that's visible there. Okay, so this one in particular, I just picked it up. This one is cold cast iron, which is where the black color comes from. I also had it in cold cast bronze and cold cast copper. So the cold cast bronze sold, the cold cast iron also sold. I'm still experimenting with different finishes and things like that. Now, but obviously, when you kind of hit something that works, you want to continue it. But I'll just say that the cold casting is very much more expensive than casting with Herculite or concrete. Much more expensive. Then the next thing that sold would have been this, which is my cold cast bronze Medusa. Now this one isn't finished. You can see there's no shine on it. It hasn't been buffed up at all, and there's a little bit of the green resin is poking through. You can see the bronze there at the back. I sold all of these, basically, nearly all of them that I remember. This one is going to be, I won't so much, it's not a repair job exactly, but I'm going to do a couple of things with it before I offer this one for sale to anybody. So basically what's up now, this is early November, we're at the 5th of November, so it's going to be basically Christmas in 20 days. I don't particularly like Christmas, but as a small hobbyist who likes to do stalls and things like that, I have to take it seriously as a retail opportunity. There will be the Christmas market for the alternative Christmas market in the Grand Social. That'll be around. There's also another market happening here in Balbriggan, which is sometime in November. I don't anticipate that will do as well as the alternative market, but then you don't know because people are coming and they're buying Christmas presents. So basically, I'm stepping up production of this. The Sheila gigs. This is a mixture of cold cast iron and cold cast bronze. I haven't polished it. I only turned it out of the mold today. If you see the luster, that's a posh word for shine. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a rub here. This is very fine wire wool. So this is an experimental mixture of iron and bronze. and I want to see how it looks. I think it should be very nice. And this is what I like to do. I like to experiment with things, see does it work. If it works, great. So just rub it. I don't rub it too hard because this is a thin veneer of metal, and underneath is the resin. Now, there's obviously metal in the resin as well, but the lion's share of the metal is actually in the front. So nicely and gently, I'm going to buff this up. Yeah, I like it. I have to say I do. I like it. It's turned out quite well. The mixture of the iron and the bronze in the coal casting. There's just a very, very gentle rub there, and it has already come up, and it gives it an antique bronze sort of look. So give it a bit of a rub now. I'm just watching out for make sure that the resin doesn't poke through. That's fine. Yeah, it looks great. I think. I need to. I probably need to buy some more resin. I used a lot of it last week. Just pouring these. So the resin is expensive. That's what you got to do. Anyway, so there we are. That's more or less finished. And it is nice. The bronze and the iron together have given it a very sort of a patinated antique effect. So I'm happy enough with the mixture. This is an experiment, and I'm happy with the way it turned. So I'm going to be using it again. I'll probably for between now and Christmas, I'll probably try and make 20 of these. I only have one mold. I should probably make another mold, but this is something else. You see, I have a full-time job too, so it's not always easy. Anyway, give it another wee polish there. Okay, you see that there? It is nice. Okay, so that's that. Now, another thing that I only started to make, I only made it there last week because the mold only arrived last week. These are the three wise skulls. So I think originally it was three wise monkeys. So you got the speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil, which is a very important cautionary tale if you can pay any attention to it. So these again are the cold cast mixture of metal of the iron and bronze, and I think that they have turned out very well. I think the effect is very, very nice. It looks more like bronze or brass than it would if it was just one or the other. So I'm going to give this a buffing too. So because this is I'm going to rub this up. Rub the back of the cranium there. We'll see what happens. This is going to have the skull, the shiny head, and I obviously haven't made any of these before. Certainly haven't sold any yet. So we're going to see what happens. And I think the key, in fact, I know the key. I know the key to selling things. So the key to selling things is to have a good quality product, to invest a little bit of time and a little bit of knowledge in what you're talking, in what you're selling as well. People come up and they ask you questions. What's this represent? What's that about? Tell them. You should know. This is what you do. I mean, you should be enthusiastic about your product. This is not just a way of making money. It's a way of making people happy and keeping yourself busy. And if you do make money, it comes as a result of providing value. Naval Ravikant said that, actually. He's an Indian-American philosopher. Very interesting to watch his podcasts, listen to the guy. He makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I'm just rubbing this again with the high gauge wire wool. And you can see the bits of the wire wool going everywhere. It's turning into dust very easily, so I should really be wearing a mask. But I'm not, I guess. So we'll just see what he looks like. Yeah. I think that is actually very nice. I really do. if I'm happy with it, then hopefully the people will be happy with it too, and they will buy it from me. That's my philosophy. But I won't. I'm not going to sell anything that I'm not happy with. I'm not going to sell anything that I don't like. Obviously, there's customer feedback. If they don't like things, there's no point stocking them. There's no point continuing to make them, because you're on a sticky wicket and a hiding to nowhere, to use a couple of cliches. But if the stuff if it is a good standard, it should be okay. So there, and this, it takes a little bit of time to make. The ingredients are relatively expensive, but I think the end result is worth it. So I'll put that to a side, and then I have another one here. You can see where it comes out of the mold, it's much more dull. This again is a mixture of the bronze and iron. That's just the iron powder there. I buy all of my my equipment these days from Polycraft, and they're in the north of Ireland. They deliver to the Republic, which is great. That's the iron. This is the bronze. And this is actual bronze, obviously, and that's actual iron. Heavy and very expensive. But this is what we're doing. I mean, we're using expensive ingredients and get a high quality, hopefully a high quality product. So I'm going to give this other one, when I finish waffling, I'm going to give this one a rub with our steel wool. Get it burnished. Just talk about that market again. Last week I had a couple of items that I brought with me that didn't sell at all. So the small skulls, I sold a few, but really it was hardly worth the trouble of bringing them. And I had a very large Medusa head, which we'll look at in another video, which I like it a lot, but I never sold one at a market. I think it might be the size and the weight of it might be deterring people. They don't want to have to bring, I don't know what it weighs, like 15, 20 kilos, 15 kilos anyway. They don't want to have to bring 15 kilos around with them, especially it's early in the day and they're going to be probably going to the pub afterwards. That deters people, so it's something to be aware of. I know not the car boot sales, but the market, for example, here in Balbriggan, it's not as much of an issue. People are only out for 1 hour, maybe 2 hours walk around after dinner, before dinner, whatever. So they don't mind, and the car tends to be nearby. That's something very important as well. Last weekend there was no parking at all in town. It was a nightmare. The marathon was on, so the whole of the city centre was closed off for hours. So it's possible that this is why people didn't want it. Again, I'm not sure. In terms of the visual feedback, people tended to like it. That's okay. So it wasn't like the people ignored it. It was that they just didn't buy it. So again, I have to think about bringing heavy items with me that I'm going to have to bring back home again. So this is like polishing an Oscar, isn't it? So that's quite nice, isn't it? Let's look at our skull there. Our three wise skeletons. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm not going to do anything else with this. I don't think I'm going to glaze it, because I think the polyurethane glaze may interfere with the what I call the burnish there on the metal, which I think is nice when it's muted like that and it's not a high gloss. A lot of the stuff that I sell I gloss with a polyurethane varnish, but these will be ceramics and so on, blah blah. So this, for example, has a high gloss ceramic, high gloss polyurethane varnish, which you can see. It's nice, but I think this one is probably better without it, and it does give the effect of of kind of some sort of steel or some sort of metal. Okay, so quite happy with that anyway. So that's another one I put to the side. So I made 3 anyway. This one I didn't mix the copper with, or sorry, I didn't mix the bronze with the iron. This is only bronze, and you can see by the color of it. So let's see what happens with this one. I got to brush it up. And you see with this, we're basically only rubbing the highlights because it's hard to get into the the smaller places with this steel wool. It's falling apart in my hand. And I can see the bronze is coming through there. Very nice. See, that's the dull brown, and then this the shine of the bronze is coming through. Not sure if I prefer this to the mixed metal. We'll see. I was watching a couple of things on how to improve your YouTube videos. As these, my YouTube videos are not very good. I'm not getting a lot of views or anything like that. So there's a couple of things. Obviously, I'm going to have to learn how to edit, and I'm going to have to make more videos. So, like it or not, I'm not giving up because I don't like to give up. And also, somebody somewhere might find a little bit of value in these videos. And if you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that like button, and I can do more videos more often. Okay, so this steel wool is literally falling apart. I'll have to go and buy some more at some point. Yeah, I think I actually prefer the mixed iron and bronze. This is okay. It's nice. It's a nice effect. So I keep looking because the door is creaking there, and it keeps sounding like somebody coming in, and there's nobody coming in because I'm in an isolated spot, which is what I like when I'm doing this. But every so often the door just creaks. You see there. At the market last week, I met some fantastic people. Some of whom I'd met before. A lot of them I didn't, and lots of positive interactions with customers and people who just come for chat. Some Instagram follows. I follow some people from Instagram. This sort of thing. This is all part of the networking process. It's all part of the community process, really. And I think those regular market meetings and so on, without a community, they're probably not going to do too well. They certainly need to be advertised. That's for sure. But the Dublin alternative market is certainly very good, and it's very well organized as well. So this sort of thing obviously sells. This is the sort of niche that I'm making. You won't see me making mushrooms or inspirational quotes, although I might try. We'll see. Okay, so yeah, I mean, there it is. There it is, burnished, looking pretty good. I actually prefer it with the mixed metal. I prefer it because we have more tones. Is that a thing? I don't know. It looks better. So what I probably do is, I haven't got any now, is I'll go over this with some black boot polish, so that the boot polish goes into the low lights. Then I'll wipe it all off, and then that should bring out the detail in the casting. Okay, so that's that. Right, what else we got here? Now, this is one of our green ladies. Didn't turn out too well because if you look carefully, you'll see that the tip of the nose is damaged, and the reason for that is that there was too much of the metal powder actually in the silicon mold itself, and it got left behind when I pulled it from the mold. So, to all intents and purposes, this is a second quality. It's not. I don't know if I'm going to attempt to sell it. I could probably fill that with a piece of with a small piece of resin or something, and I might paint over. We'll see. I'm not going to mess with it. Also, the highlights on these green ladies. See the way the high areas are very rough on this steel wool. They really chop it up. Now I have a Dremel tool at home with different kind of polishing heads on it. So what I might do is I might experiment to see is there any kind of a polishing head that'll do this without ripping the metal out of the resin, or breaking through it. We'll have a quick look at what it looks like when it's burnished a bit. See just there on the cheek where it's starting to come up. So with this and with these, with the cold cast iron green ladies, generally I'm going to get my silver paint and I'm going to dry brush the details because they're very dark without it. See, this is what it looks like when it's dry brushed. This isn't the metal, but it'll be somewhere between the two effects. Yeah, so I hope you're doing that today. It's a little, not sure exactly if he's a Roman emperor or if it's Michelangelo's David or something, but I got the mold a long time ago. And I did a cold casting on this, so I'm just trying to find a better one. There's a better one, slightly better one. So I mean, like, realistically I was only messing around with these, but the problem when you get small castings like this with a lot of small detail, you see the way our friend's nose didn't turn out correctly because it's hard to get the resin in there. I don't know if it's worth even making these little things. It's all right to mess around, but you see, almost all shake when you pour the resin in. Make sure you shake it around, tap it, get it in there. But even at that, there might be a small bubble in this little undercut where the nose is. Basically, then the piece is no good. So I don't know if it's worth doing. So that's all we have time for right now. I'm going to get into it, and then I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to pour some concrete for the green men because it's a warm enough day. The concrete will set in probably 2 days, maybe 3. As November, December, January, God, I hate that month, starts to swing around, it's going to be very difficult to make concrete. So I'm going to do a few things here, and we'll talk later.